In the know, non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
3 teams have been 15-1 in the history of the National Football League. All right? Give yourselves a round of applause.
Now, mathematically, there's an extra game now, but I'm curious, as we pick the schedule here for the first time in quite some time on Purple Daily, will any of us be that optimistic? Have we seen enough now from these joint practices to elevate the win total? In fact, let me pull up real quick here. I'm keeping track of the other times we have picked their record so far this year.
Mine. I don't know if I have yours.
I got them all right here, actually. So, February 8th. We did this on February 8th. Why did we do it on February 8th?
I don't know.
Oh, because we knew
one.
the opponents. We knew the opponents. Mm-hmm. So when we knew the opponents, I had them at 10-7. Dex had them 9-8. Judd had them 8-9. And then Declan, you were out on Friday, February 24th, but on a feedback Friday, Luke K had he put together a mock schedule. I had them 10-7 again. Judd jumped them by 2 wins up to 10-7 after seeing the order of the mock schedule. And then March 29th, so that was like after free agency, I had them 10-7 again. Declan had them 9-8 again. Judd had them 7-10. So you went all the way down.
I was particularly dour that day.
And then May 11th is the last time. 3 months ago, it's been 3 months since we picked the schedule.
Yeah,
right after the schedule was released. Yeah, and I had them 10-7 again. Declan had them 11-6.
Yeah, I jumped.
And then Judd, you had them at 9-8 after seeing the order
I've got
of the
that
schedule.
one right here. I've still got that one.
Yeah, I got those 3.
The predictions.
Okay. So you guys, oh wow, look at it. Did you just have that piece of paper saved?
Yeah, I just saved it. It's in a drawer. Pull it out.
Judd's filing system.
Judge drawer.
I stick it in my drawer.
Right next to your taxes from 1994 or what?
And my Surly's. I open the drawer.
Refrigerated drawer.
I see stuff like this, and I see stuff like this. There's nothing more.
It's his break. It's his break beer in case of emergency. Like he's out of Surly and goes, "Oh, the file cabinet. The file cabinet. I got a beer in there."
To the file cabinet.
It's in a koozie, so it's probably still cold. So we're going to pick the schedule for the first time in 3 months here because we're about halfway through the preseason, and we'll probably pick it again right before the season starts. A shout out to our friends at TCL, which has award-winning TVs for any budget, any space, all with stunning picture quality. TCL makes more than just TVs, too. They offer mobile products, audio devices, and home appliances. TCL brings you joy and simplicity through innovative technology. Learn more at TCL.com. And a shout out to our new friends, Burger Press in Edina. Oh my gosh, the food here. This is exclusive footage of our Purple Daily lunch with our friends on the marketing team too a couple weeks ago.
All those wings.
Look at the crinkle cut fries. I need some of this in my life right now. So this is an independently owned company. It's not a chain. Burger Press in Edina. Minnesota sports fans run this company. They're huge Score North and Purple Daily fans. Amazing burgers, Nathan's hot dogs, wings, even chicken falafel, milkshakes. They're right off 494 on France Avenue in Edina. Burger Press. Check them out. People have been sending us photos of their food at Burger Press, and it's amazing. So, all right, let's get into it here, boys. So I'll just I'll throw out the games. Let's keep track of our own wins and losses here so that we don't screw it up here.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start with week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a noon game, CBS.
Yep. Baker Mayfield, I guess, and the Buccaneers coming to town. That is a win for the Vikings.
Yep. Dex. We'll go Judd.
Win.
Dex me. Win
Win for me as well. I'm at to check in on the Kyle Trask Baker Mayfield source that I have in Tampa just to get one last instinct here on who I know as the starting quarterback.
Will that impact your pick of this game?
Might impact the spread.
I don't know if it'll impact.
But your
anything.
sources dry up a lot, Dex.
Like dry up.
I mean, we were golden on the Dame Trailblazer stuff, and now we can't get a sniff. We can't get a sniff anymore.
You can only use the source so many times before the source says, "Hey, this is getting a little stale. Stop asking me about Damian Lillard."
Stop proposing Karl Anthony Towns trades.
You'll never be Schefter.
It's the seventh one today.
You'll never be Sean, this man. You'll never be Woj. They never stop asking.
It's a win for me too. It would be such a, with how hard the schedule gets after this in some spots.
Oh yeah,
it would just be so brutal to lose that game at home against Tampa Bay, second year of this offense and stuff. So
it'd be terrible.
All right, and then a short turnaround, a road game at Philadelphia. Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, this was the last time I did this, and it will remain a loss. I'm not saying that they don't have a chance, but Philly's really good. It's a short turnaround in which they have to then travel. This is why the Tampa Bay loss would be a brutal one, because if you lose Tampa Bay, I think you're damn near guaranteed an 0-2 start, but I have them 1-1 with a loss in this game.
Yeah, we're gonna get 2 event line episodes in 4 days, basically, to start the season, baby. We're gonna be ready to rock. So I'm excited for that. After I love my offseason event lines as well, but we're gonna have 2 angry or happy Vikings fans on in the span of 4 days. This is a loss for me. It's a tough week. They never win in Philadelphia, it seems like, either. It's a tough place to play. It's a loss.
I've stuck to my guns on this. I wavered a little bit when I saw that viral video of Jalen Carter's first snap in an Eagles uniform, and he's just like lifting up a right guard, and he just moved the guy out of the way and then went and
not good.
Got to the quarterback. So it makes me a little nervous when you say, "Oh, don't worry, it's Ed Ingram will be fine." I don't know if that's the case. So that defensive line worries me against this offensive line, but people need to stop fearing this game as much as they are. The short week levels the playing field a lot more for both teams. The team that gets as far as the Eagles did and then loses in the Super Bowl generally has a hangover even more than like the Super Bowl winner does. So I think the Vikings, and I'm on the record with write that down, that they win this game. I'm sticking to my guns on this. The Vikings are going to beat, I don't think they're going to be better than the Eagles on the season necessarily, but they're going to win this game in week 2.
All right.
2-0. That's right. All right, and then a 10-day gap until a home game against the LA Chargers and Justin Herbert.
This is a tough game when you look at the quarterback they're going against. Eric Kendrick's return to Minneapolis now as a Charger. I think the Chargers will be decent again. Of course, they did blow that playoff game to Jacksonville in what's just an absolute collapse. But I think the Vikings win this game. Home field advantage to me is probably the deciding factor. Vikings win.
Home field advantage, 10 days, a little extra time to prepare. I love my guy, Kellen Moore. Excited to see what he does with Justin Herbert with the Chargers, but I think this is a win. This quarterback gauntlet they have in the first 5 games between Hurts, Herbert, and Mahomes. If you can go 2-1 against those 3 guys, that's going to be a win, but it's going to be tough to do. But for right now, this is a win for me at home against the Chargers.
Yeah, I think the extra rest, the home, the travel for. And it's, by the way, it's a noon game Central Time, which means it's a 10 o'clock a.m. game for the traveling Chargers. A lot of things against the Chargers here. So I've got this as a win.
Clocks are all off.
They will
Can't win. Your body clock's off. Yeah, I know.
Wait a second. Where did they play the week before? Would they
important.
stick around? Let's see here. So in week 2, come on. There we go. Okay, they play. Okay, wow, how about this? At Tennessee. So they're even further over. Now, is Nashville Central Time Zone?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not.
Yes. Oh.
So are they going to fly all the way back to the West Coast and then back? I mean, that's a lot of
Probably
trouble.
Probably will. Yeah.
It's not going to work out well for them. So it's a win for me. All right, and then the next week, week 4, at Carolina, noon on Fox.
Oh, I am going win in this game. Bryce Young, I think, might have a fairly successful rookie season of all of those quarterbacks who were drafted. Adam Thielen will try to extract his revenge, but the reality is this. I think Carolina is still going to be in for a rocky season for the most part. This is a Vikings victory.
I think I've given this a win on all 3 times, but it's still on the road. Panthers have a lot of good things going. I don't know if you can necessarily call this a trap game. Can you call this a trap game if it's on the road against
you
the
can
Panthers?
You can call it a trap game if you want to. Yeah you got, because it's between 2 big games against the Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Yeah,
sure. I will say this is a loss. You're not going to go perfect on the road. Obviously, you'll be lucky to go 500. So I'm going to say this is one of the road losses. So they're 2-2 for me right now.
This is a much trickier. I'm with Declan here. They lose this game. This is a much trickier game than people are. Carolina garbage, right? Well, Carolina, they weren't as bad as people thought. The number one pick, right? Well, they traded up to get the number one pick. They were not one of the actual worst teams in the league. They have a lot of good pieces, and it's like the Adam Thielen early in the season motivational revenge game factor. So I think it's a tough loss. Back home against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Tony Romo, Jim Nantz standalone 325 window.
This is a loss. This defense might confuse a lot of quarterbacks. It might cause problems. Patrick Mahomes doesn't care what you're doing. All he cares about is that he's kicking.
It has flustered him when Miami played Kansas City.
Yeah,
I think they got him pretty good in one of those games.
I think he's going to be fine. This is a Kansas City Chiefs victory.
You know, I'm glad this game's early because I feel like, there's a point of the Dolphins game where like you might be able to fluster him a little early in the season. And the last time these two teams, at least in the Mahomes era, he was hurt. The Vikings had to go down to KC. I believe that was that a Chad Henne start or some backup quarterback, I think, for Kansas City in 2019. The last time these two teams matched up.
Matt Moore.
It's Matt Moore.
Matt Moore. But this is a loss. It's in my opinion, still the best team in football. You're going against the best quarterback in football. It's a loss for me.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to pick the Vikings to beat teams that are perceived to be better, but I already kind of did that with the Eagles win on the Thursday night, so I can't, in good faith, pick them to beat both the Eagles and the Chiefs here. So I'm going to say it's a loss for all the reasons you guys just listed too. And so they then come back the next week, go to Chicago. So we're alternating home road until the end of October. At Chicago, this is the first division game of the season here in Week 6.
This is a win. The Vikings obviously have had a history of not playing well in Chicago, but that's sort of come to a screeching halt the last 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. I think the Bears are going to be improved. I think they have to be improved, but I don't think that this is going to be. I think improved means like 6 wins or something like that, 7 wins maybe if I'm pushing the envelope. Division games are always hard, but I actually think the Vikings continue their success in Soldier Field in this game and win it.
Yeah, I think it's 3 straight wins in Chicago for the Vikings. I believe they won in the pandemic year. I think they won in 2021 and 2022. So yeah, I'll say this is a win, pun intended. It depends on the windy situation in Chicago. It can be a tough place to play, but I believe this is a win right now for the Vikings.
It's October 15th too. I think it'll be okay.
It'll be beautiful. It's a beautiful time of year in Chicago there. Yeah, it's a win. These are always kind of weird games to predict, and weird things can happen. Yeah. And all of a sudden, now the Bears have a bunch of weapons, so it would not shock me. This is where the schedule can get really weird, especially, man, if you can't slip up against Tampa Bay because the rest of the schedule. And then it's like, God, if you slip up against Chicago and you got San Fran and I think it's a win, but it's going to be a hard fought win. And then you get an extra day's rest hosting the San Francisco 49ers, which, by the way, we have a great auction item up for bid right now. You can bid on these charity auction items that we're doing the Power of Sports auction all week long, benefiting the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute. Until midnight Sunday. So all day Sunday, these bids end on Sunday. And one of them is a Monday Night Football experience for this game, Vikings-Niners, on October 23rd. Plus, I believe it's a Red Rabbit gift card that goes along with it. And all sorts of other amazing items up for grabs at scorenorth.com/bid. Scorenorth.com/bid. Who wins this game?
I am going to go with, and I've vacillated a bit on this one, but I'm going to remain consistent. I'm going to go with this is a Vikings loss. I think it's going to be an extremely competitive game, but there's certain games that coaches get a little bit too amped up for or freaked out. And I think O'Connell against Kyle Shanahan, who has more coaching experience, is going to be that. I think Kyle Shanahan is much more likely to be O'Connell's Belichick. Like Brad Childress would always get tight the week of a Patriots game. I don't think a guy like O'Connell gets uptight about Belichick. I think, though, when he's going against a guy who he perceives as probably a mentor, and Kyle Shanahan has 2 things. One is, I don't know how, but they develop quarterbacks, and they've had great success even when a guy like Trey Lance bombs. The other thing is they're tough teams, physical. I think the 2023 Vikings are going to be more physical than the 2022 team, but I think that there's a lot of things in this game that are going to be difficult. I think San Francisco wins.
I feel like I might be on an island of that. I just wonder when the bottom's going to drop out of this 49ers roster to a degree. They've had really good rosters. I don't know if they've been able to develop quarterbacks, but they've been able to plug in quarterbacks into their awesome system with Shanahan. But eventually, you have to adjust a little bit in the NFL, and I think that roster's starting to get a little older, and you can't just keep running it back and forth all the years. I say this is a win. I think it's a half step back for San Francisco this year. The Vikings are at home. That also really helps, and they get an extra day. This is a win for me at home against the Niners.
I feel like this is where the Vikings' run defense probably shows its warts. That's what I'm worried about. San Francisco running for about 215 yards here. Trent Williams, like this is just the size and the bully nature of that offense. And I think even like on the other side, Kyle Shanahan, maybe knowing what Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins are trying to do offensively, do they have sort of a kryptonite for that? This is a tricky one. I'm going to say it's a loss. Quick turnaround here for Week 8 against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau.
So I think we all agree in saying we don't know what to make of the Packers. Jordan Love obviously taken over as the starting quarterback. He could be an absolute bust. He could be good. We don't know. I have a very hard time, though, until I know far more about the Packers, saying that the Vikings are going to sweep them. So I have this as a second consecutive loss because I think the teams do split.
Yeah.
But unless you come to me and say, look, the Packers are going to be absolutely atrocious, I have a hard time picking a sweep. So this is a second consecutive loss, and I now have the Vikings at 4-4.
Same thing. Everything that Judge has laid out too. I don't think that you can assume that they can sweep them yet. We'll have to see how the Packers look by the time Week 8 rolls around. But on August 18th, I think this is a loss for right now with the Vikings. They're at 4-4 with me as well.
Yeah, God, the audience is going to hate me for making it 3 here, but like just being realistic, the Aaron Rodgers was not all that great for the Packers last year. The rest of their team still has some good bones.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to be. I don't think they're winning the division. I don't think that they're going to be. I don't think Jordan Love is the third consecutive Hall of Fame quarterback. But I think people are overstating. Oh, Rodgers is gone, therefore the Packers are going to be garbage.
Yep.
And so. The other factor here is, too, this is a schedule loss more than it's like a Packers loss. Teams that play the 49ers always lose the next week. And now you're playing a road game on a short week after playing the 49ers.
Worn down.
So for me, it's a schedule loss to the Green Bay Packers in Week 8. So I also have them 4-4 right now after a 3-0 start. So they got to get back on track here. Week 9 at Atlanta, back-to-back road games here.
Vikings get back on track here. I think the Falcons are going to struggle again, and I'm not sure that Arthur Smith is really a good coach. At least I think he's a decent offensive mind, but that doesn't make him a good head coach necessarily. This is a Vikings win. I have them now at 5-4.
Yeah, I don't buy the Falcons now. This is the true trap game, right? I asked if it was a trap game against Carolina.
Yes.
This has trap game written all over it, right? Even though it's on the road still. I have this as a win right now. Falcons don't really do anything for me. I mean, is Desmond Ridder the answer there? I mean, there's a lot of question marks. They might be poised for another top 5 pick in the draft in 2024. So this is a win for me in Atlanta.
It's a win for me too. Whatever. Like sometimes weird games happen. Could this be one of those weird games? It better not be because you don't have a whole lot of breathing room here. But I think it's a win. And then you come back home for the first time in 3 weeks against the New Orleans Saints, the Derek Carr-led New Orleans Saints in Week 10.
I think Derek Carr is going to bounce back and have a nice season. That being said, and if this game was in the Superdome, I might pick the Saints, but it's not. And I don't think that the Saints are exactly going to be great. So I'm going with probably mostly based on home field advantage. Again, I'm going to go with the Vikings in this game.
Yeah, I think the Saints might be the best team in that division. At least, they upgraded with Derek Carr at quarterback. Yeah. That division is mostly a gong show. The Vikings have one less home game this year. The only home loss I have currently is to the Chiefs. but I think they take care of business against the Saints at home. It's not a gimme, though, but I believe the Vikings win this game.
All right. Man, the Saints have a couple of tackles. Derek Carr brings some stability at quarterback for them. This is a weird one for me. This is another team that, like, everyone's kind of sleeping on that whole division because we don't know what to do with it, but the Saints have some good pieces on offense and defense. So I actually think the Vikings step in it here and they lose this game in week 10.
Yeah, that's what we like to call a bad loss.
I mean, right now it looks like it's a bad loss, but also I just want to point out the Vikings aren't going to smooth sail their way to 13 wins like they did with all these comebacks and stuff like this. I think this season has a chance to be filled with adversity and some stretches that didn't happen last year. And what is your perseverance looking like in 2023? So I think that they're going to go through, take some punches, and maybe come out. Maybe they're a better team, but their win-loss record looks bad. So then the next week, they go out to Denver, Sunday Night Football, Week 11 against Russell Wilson and Sean Payton.
I don't like this game. I don't like it. I've talked about this since the schedule came out. I think Denver is going to be improved. Russell Wilson might not ever recapture the magic he had in Seattle, but I don't think he is as bad as he was a year ago. I think the Vikings lose this game.
I think they win this game. I believe that they'll win this game in Denver. I don't buy that Sean Payton's going to be able to fix Russell Wilson. I think Russ is cooked until I'm proven otherwise. And hey, that's a great guy to get him back on track in Sean Payton, but I don't believe Denver is going to be anything special. This is going to be a win for me.
Dude, the Russ, I had this as a loss for all the reasons Judd said when they hired Sean Payton. Like, oh, this is going to be a bounce back team. The Russ vibes are really weird still. The fact that he's like playing 4 series in preseason games. I mean, this was a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it just feels off still. Some of the throws he was making, these are against backup defensive players, like the Cardinals' backup defensive players. So I now have this as a win. This is a Kirk Cousins primetime game here that goes the right way. And then the Vikings get an extra day off because Monday Night Football is their next game against the Chicago Bears in Week 12.
This is the only NFC North foe that I have the Vikings sweeping. So I have this as a win. Again, I think the Bears, saying that they're going to be improved is not exactly a big slap on the back here. Yeah. So I think that this is a team, and the Vikings need to take advantage now because I probably won't predict this a year from now, but I'm going with a Viking sweep of Chicago and a win in this game.
Yeah, I believe they'll be able to sweep Chicago this year too. I had the Vikings now winning 4 straight. They're on a little bit of a heater here. They weathered the storm through 8 weeks. They were 4-4, and now this is where hopefully they can get a little hot. So right now I have the Vikings 8-4 after sweeping the Chicago Bears in Week 12.
Yeah, I have this as a win as well. I think the Vikings are. So I've got the Vikings winning back-to-back games here. You know, like Judd said, there's a good chance Chicago is improved. But if it happens like this, I've got Kirk winning back-to-back primetime games and also earlier in the year beating the Eagles on a Thursday night. So the Kirk Cousins primetime narrative is blown sky high with
put together right now for Canton.
Let's freaking go. Okay, so let's do a record check. I've got them 7-5 after the first 12 games.
Same.
And then Declan has them 8-4. Okay. Yep. So that puts you in position. You may or may not be leading the division with that record. Probably not, but you're firmly in the mix for one of the wild card spots going into the Week 13 bye. And before we pick the last 5 games and see where we end up here, let's shout out our friends over at Livia for helping all sorts of Purple Daily listeners lose weight the last few years.
You talk about a team that wins. This team wins. Look at that guy right there. Lost 40 pounds with this program a couple of years ago. That guy's a winner. Winner. But you know why? Because my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers help me not only achieve that weight loss, but also keep that weight off. And so you're saying, okay, Judd, that's great for you, but tell me more about how this is going to work for me. Well, they were just named Minnesota's best weight loss program for the 3rd year in a row. There is not a finer weight loss program in this state. This is a program that works, and if you join now, you're going to get 3 months free. You are going to get 3 months of weight loss for free. You're going to get on the right track. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to be so pleased that you made the decision to call 855-GO-LIVEA or go to LIVEA, inside the state or out. Because if you're outside the state, it can all be done virtually. They can send you the food. It is as simple as can be, and it's going to result in you being a winner yourself in the game of weight loss.
Yes. If you're an animal and you're looking to be healthy, maybe you're Maya Mackey or Stella Zolgad or Vinny Goff, Nutrisource pet foods are where it's at. So for Maya, she starts her day with Nutrisource. She gets the Nutrisource treats. Later, like in the afternoon, if she's kind of snacky, but it's not dinner time, she might get a little kombucha, a little slurp of kombucha. Nutrisource is taking over the Mackey household.
And look at that little girl right there, Stella. In fact, she is very proud there to be representing with the training rewards treats that she loves so much. She goes outside, comes right inside, says, Pop, you get me that Nutrisource right now. I got a feeling that Vinny demands Nutrisource as well. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, the weekend pose, whether it's here on the carpet or he's snuggled up next to me on the bed over here, dreaming of his next Nutrisource treat. I don't blame him. Nutrisource, great little doggy treats for my Vinny boy.
NutrisourcePetFoods.com. NutrisourcePetFoods.com to find a location near you. They like to help out sort of the local community pet shops. So check them out. For Chuck and Don's in Minneapolis.
That's where I get mine, yeah.
Is a great spot. So, and then let's shout out to our friends at Power Lodge and Miller Marine here, because they are all about helping you maximize throttle therapy the rest of these summer weeks and months. Throttle therapy helps you relax when Minnesota sports teams are pissing you off, Judd.
Look at that. I mean, can you think of a better way to spend a day? And by the way, summer, there's a lot of time left. Like we're in the good portion right now. We're being out on that Bennington is absolutely fantastic. Look at these people and put yourself in their position. Just as Phil said, throttle therapy, relaxing, fun, definitely a great way to spend your summer.
Yep. It's powerlodge.com. You can also stop into one of their metro locations, Brainerd, or like Minnesota locations, I should say, Brainerd, Ramsey, Anemia, or Sauk Rapids, to take advantage of 25 days of deals to celebrate 25 years in business. Powerlodge.com. Okay, the bye week. We're rested up here. We're into December, and we're on the road for the first 2 weeks post-bye, starting with a trip to Las Vegas against the Raiders.
Okay, so I agree, Phil, with what you said, which is there is going to be, because it's just inevitable, more adversity this year. Like, this team should score more points consistently. I think the defense is going to be improved, but I think that some of the good karma that we saw in 2022, because it doesn't usually just continue on. I think this is a loss. I think, and I'm assuming Garoppolo plays, which might be a strong assumption because he certainly gets hurt a lot. But you go on the road to what's going to be an interesting environment, because there should be an absolute boatload of Vikings fans there. I think it's a close game, but I just have a weird feeling that this is going to be a road loss. I think this team is going to be damn good at home. I think the road is going to be a bit more of a test for the 2023 Vikes.
Yeah, I think it'd be like a bad loss coming out of a bye to lose against this Raiders team. Just my
I don't disagree with that.
Oh,
I don't disagree with that at all.
okay. Dex?
Well, I would love for Purple Daily to be in Vegas this weekend, not just because of the Vikings.
Timberwolves.
Because of the Pups. I saw the play-in schedule that got released there. In fact, I want to check. I want to check if you left on.
You checking airfare? Are we doing airfare right now?
I'm doing airfare.
Are you really doing this?
We can use Macadac's Hyatt points if you guys want to. Actually, Hyatt just lost like a bunch of the best hotel resorts in Vegas to Marriott. So if you have Judd, if you have Marriott points left over from your lead Vikings beat writer,
those are long gone, my man. Unfortunately.
Let's see. We can take the late night flight out on a
How
Thursday
late though?
night.
I like the early evening flights. You can go and enjoy some dinner, hang out, like a 6 p.m. flight kind of a situation. Don't eliminate the whole evening.
Yeah,
I like how
that's not gonna be
Declan's
possible
our
right now.
travel agent here.
It's
Yeah.
going to be
Right.
very expensive.
And then coming back on a Sunday, if we can do that.
Like
take the
later.
late night. Okay.
That's the red eye.
Spirit. It's Spirit Airlines. Declan here for Spirit Airlines. I won't say anything more
can't
on
do
that.
Okay. All right.
Can't do
I'm
it.
staying home.
Can't do it
Either
unless
I'm staying home.
Spirit Airlines wants to
You guys-
sponsor Purple Daily, in which case Mackie here for
Spirit Airlines.
You guys
I'm
conference
buckled
me in.
in.
I'm staying right here.
Oh,
This
you
is-
buckle your seatbelt? That's $10. All right, let's go.
Gotta unclick another 5. This is a loss. This is just a loss for me.
What? You guys
yep,
both
it's a
have them
loss.
coming out of the bye with a loss?
Yep, this is classic Vikings. They're 8-4. Things are riding high. They're going into the bye week, and boom, they fall on their face in
Yeah.
the Sin City, man. I mean, come on. We've seen this. We've seen this page and chapter numerous times. This is a loss for me.
No, this is a win. I don't know. You guys are. I know that they just legalized, weed here in the state of Minnesota. I don't know what you guys are smoking,
Yeah,
thinking
you're
they're
the
going
one that just
2
talked
weeks of
about
prep for the
adversity.
Raiders.
You're the one that just talked about more adversity.
Yeah,
You're right.
I've got them with a bunch of losses. This is
Yeah.
not one of them.
Okay, whatever.
Not this game here. So they're going to
Whatever.
be winning this game. Okay, then they go at Cincinnati. The network and the time of this game are still to be determined for Sunday, December 17th.
The most important thing for this game is Joe Burrow going to play? Because I'm assuming he is. I'm assuming he's back
Yep.
to 100% health at this point, and this is a loss. 2 in a row.
Yep, loss for me as well. This is back-to-back losses out of the bye. They were 8-4. Now they're stumbling a little bit
7 and
after
7
a couple
for
of
me.
road losses.
Yep.
Now they're 8-6 for me.
Here's what I want to know. I have this as a loss too. It's one of those, like, in a vacuum, you don't have to apologize for losing at Cincinnati in December when they're also trying to, jockey for number 1 seed or whatever. But if it happens the way that Declan has scripted out here, which is, hey, they're 8-4, then they get a bye week, and then they stumble and lose 2 games in a row. I want to know what Judd's level of panic would be if this scenario plays out. I think you'd
Depends how it
be
looks.
sounding alarms on Purple Daily.
Depends how it looks. Like, is Kirk struggling? Was the defense just not as good as I thought it might be? It's bad again. It depends on a lot of factors here.
Well, let's get to the next week's game here. We're back in the division for the last 3 games. Christmas Eve on Fox. It's a noon Fox game between the Vikings and the Lions, which means Kenny Albert here.
Yep. With
Merry
his
Christmas
Christmas
and
shirt.
happy holidays.
Oh,
It's Kenny Albert
His
here.
got all
Christmas
the
sweat, his
Penguins
Christmas
Blackhawks.
sweater, and they go to break with the Deck the Halls. Dun, 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 dun. Back on Fox after
Back
this.
on
Happy
Fox.
holidays.
Vikings and Lions. Kick off next.
This is a
All
win.
right. A win? Okay.
This is a home win against a Detroit team that, look, they might be good. I don't know, but I think you beat them at home.
This is a win, and wouldn't shock me at all if this gets flexed out of the noon slot.
I thought we talked about that. I thought Christmas Eve. Can they still flex on Christmas Eve?
So let's see.
I thought we went through this.
Currently night game on Christmas Eve.
This
in
is
the
a-
Mile High City. The New England Patriots visit the Denver Broncos.
Hold
Currently on
Wait,
on
so-
that,
but-
on that evening.
But is Christmas Eve the primetime day, or is this the every game day? Like, are all the games? I'm assuming. Oh, it's a Sunday, so all the games are being played on this day. Yeah.
Well, no,
So
there'll
they could flex it to the primetime slot, but
there's 3 games on Christmas Day now, right?
I'm sorry, Christmas Eve. They're playing Christmas Eve.
This is a
Right.
Christmas Eve game on a
Yeah.
Sunday, and
They could flex
currently yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if they could flex this. So it's currently a
Okay.
noon game. Wouldn't shock me at all
Okay.
if they move this even to mid-afternoon. The evening game is, yes, New England at Denver.
Okay. You're saying that you don't know if they would flex a Christmas Eve game or that they.
I'm saying I'm looking right now to see if they would have locked in those games and not given them flexibility because of the holiday.
Okay. The Christmas
But I don't
Day
know that.
games I could see for sure being locked
Yeah,
in.
those
Yeah,
guys
those are
don't
locked.
think can be moved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's 3 games on Christmas Day.
And Dex, what did you have it as a what now?
Win.
Oh, a
Win.
win.
Yep, win.
I think it's a win too. These are tricky because we don't know exactly what the Lions are going to be at the end of December. So I just have to go off history at this point that they're still going to be the Lions and it's a home game and it's a win for the Purple. All right, Judd, any info from you or should we keep going?
I'm
or
reading
do you
through
wanna-
something right now, but I'm paying attention to. I'm multitasking, so
Okay.
give me the next game.
Okay, the next game is New Year's Eve, and this is a primetime game on the National Broadcasting Corporation. What does NBC stand for? National Broadcasting Corporation? Company?
National Broadcasting Company.
Okay. Against the Packers. Home against the Packers.
Win. I've got them splitting with the Packers. I have this as a win, which means that the Vikings going into the final game of the regular season are now 9-7 on my schedule.
Oh God, New Year's Eve, Vikings, Packers. Stay off the roads, folks. Be like us. Watch Ventline at home in the comfort of your home here. This will be quite the heck of a head-to-head. But I have this as a win right now. So they're going in the last week of the season at 10-6.
I also have this as a win. So this would now be the fourth primetime win for primetime Kirk Cousins, according to my picks here. Let's go. Celebrate responsibly with some apple juice on New Year's Eve if you're Kirk.
I've got the answer. Flex scheduling is not applicable to Christmas Eve games, so these time slots are officially locked in.
Okay, so Jubb was right.
So we can't be, and I don't want that to be a primetime game, so I'm glad it's going to be at noon.
I did because it would have gotten me out of a family obligation, so that's also why I wanted
I like to be home for Christmas Eve.
I do too, which is why I wanted it out of the noon slot.
Wow.
Oh, so you guys have the only going back through this. I want to know how many of your picks are just based on like your own personal lives.
It's agenda based. It's all about me
stuff.
Yep. All right.
That brings us to so right now, I got them 10-6. Declan has them 10-6.
Mm-hmm.
Judd
9-7.
Okay. So this is like major. They could be in the division mix. They could be in the wild card mix. And they go at Detroit, who could also be in both those mixes for Week 18. What happens?
I've got them splitting with Detroit. And, of course, I just said that they're going to win on Christmas Eve at home against Detroit. So they will lose this game and finish the season 9-8.
Oof. This is it all depends on what the state of the NFC North is, right? Like if the Lions had the division in play, then you got to play all your starters. If the Lions have fallen out of the division, but maybe still need a win to stay in the wild card standings, I could see a situation if the Vikings have obviously the division wrapped up, they're probably going to rest their starters against the Lions. If there's no chance the Lions can win the division going into this game, this is just whatever, chalk it up as the Vikings have a home playoff game for sure on wild card weekend. But for right now, I have this as a loss. I have this as a loss because I don't think you're going to sweep Detroit. So
I'm assuming nothing at this point. Yeah.
I am in the same boat here. I have this as a loss, and it's so hard to know what it even will mean. But I guess here's my logic. There's a really good chance Detroit is desperately trying to get to the playoffs for the first time in a long time, right? For like the 8th time since the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're going to be putting it all on the line at home. And that maybe the Vikings, like for mine, if they're 10-6, the Vikings might have a wild card spot kind of locked in at this point where a loss doesn't knock. I just think there's a chance Detroit might be more desperate to get that win in week 18. So I have it as a loss, which means 10-7 for me, 10-7 for Declan, and 9-8 for Judd Zulgad, right?
Correct. 9-8.
Okay. So, competitive, a good season, get in. Maybe you win. I think at 9-8, you're probably not winning the division. Maybe 10-7 wins you the division, depending on tiebreakers and stuff.
Right.
So maybe you can host a playoff game, but you're kind of in a similar spot to most Vikings football teams ever in history, going back to the 70s, which is get in with like 10 wins and see what happens in January, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, boys. Feeling pretty
good.
We'll do another one before the season starts here. We should also shout out our friends over at Summit Orthopedics, by the way. So whatever you're dealing with pain-wise, whether it's down around your ankles or your knees, maybe it's your shoulders, your neck, Summit Orthopedics is here. No referrals are needed. They offer same-day appointments. And if you're really in pain, they also offer walk-in orthopedic urgent care 7 days a week starting at 8 a.m. 25 locations across the Twin Cities and greater Minnesota, and they have over 150 expert physicians and physical therapists. Learn more at summitortho.com, summitortho.com. All right, boys. There we go. We just picked it. Tell us in the YouTube comment section, how far off are we? Are we idiots? Which one of us made the dumbest pick on the schedule? Which one of us made the sneaky, smartest pick on the schedule? And what do you think their record is right now, halfway through the preseason? What would you peg them at? It's hard to find another path to 13 wins with the quarterbacks they face. And
yep.
So
yep,
we shall see. All right, boys. That's a wrap here. Purple Daily preseason game this weekend. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. All right, welcome into Stepping Up, presented by Federated Insurance, where we talk with next generation business owners and business leaders about their process, about their philosophies, what challenges they face, and their vision for the future of business. And our guest on this episode is the Chief Operating Officer of the Minnesota Timberwolves, a man who has seen a lot of basketball and a lot of sports business the last 20 or 25 years, Ryan Tanke. Thank you for joining, Ryan.
Great to see you, Phil. Great to be here. Thank you for having me on. This is fun.
A friend of mine who's done some business leadership consulting throughout the last 20 years. And he's always said, everyone has a different definition of leadership. The way that he defines leadership is facilitating the success of your team, essentially. Mm-hmm. Do you have a way that you define leadership? Do you have any sort of like what is leadership to you, I guess?
Yeah, I think leadership is helping people unlock and achieve, things that they otherwise sometimes don't believe are possible. Sometimes they just need, help with a roadmap. So I think it's helping people unlock and achieve is sort of leadership. We talk all the time here, Phil, about impact. And so I think the number one obligation and responsibility of a leader is create impact. And I don't mean on the business, I mean on the people, which is I look at two things every day are kind of by filter, which is one, who did I impact today? And two is how do I want to be remembered? And if I can, go through that impact and legacy aspects of this, oftentimes you're going to make the right decisions along the way.
Love it, man. Love to hear that, and appreciate your insights on business leadership. And yeah, Ryan, it was great catching up. Thanks for your time today, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Love doing it, and love to do it again sometime.
Ryan Tanke, the Chief Operating Officer of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Minnesota Lynx here on Stepping Up, presented by Federated Insurance.